Living an interesting life doesn't mean going on luxurious vacations every single month and eating out at expensive restaurants just because the meals are Instagrammable. Actually, it can involve just two simple things, and I'm going to share those two simple things with you in this video. But first, why should you even bother working on this? Why would you want to make your life more interesting? Because the alternative is that all your days blend together until you wake up 1 year later and you've got no memorable experiences. Nothing to look back on and think, you know, that was really interesting and cool, that experience. If you start to make your life more interesting in the way that I'm going to share with you in this video, what's going to happen is you are going to meet more interesting, cool people. You're going to have more interesting experiences, and you're going to attract more opportunities into your life. You are also going to become more interesting to be around. Other people are going to find you more charismatic as a person. You're going to have more stories to tell because you've just had more cool experiences in your life. And one last thing I will say about the benefits is that if you're a creator, you will also find that you will tend to be more creative the more interesting your life becomes, because you're going to have more experiences to draw from, more ideas to connect to each other. So how do you make your life more interesting? Well, there's 2 points that I want to share with you here. The first point is novelty. You want to expose yourself to more novel experiences. Actually intentionally going about breaking your routine in your life every once in a while. Preferably you do this like weekly. You do something that completely breaks your usual daily routine of life. You know, if we spend all our life doing one routine again and again and again, you might have had periods in your life where you've had to do this. We all have. But what you'll probably find is when you look back on that period, what you'll find is that it's usually quite a blur, right? Nothing really stands out because it's all kind of the same. So really simply, exposing yourself to novel experiences will make you a more interesting person and will lead to a more interesting life. And again, these don't need to be really major big things. You don't need to go and suddenly go on a skydiving experience to break your daily routine. You know, I'll give you a really simple example from my life. The other day, I was experiencing creative block. I was trying to write an article for my newsletter and I just couldn't get any words on the page. So I decided to go out for a walk. I was gonna go to the grocery store to grab a coffee, but I ended up actually walking into a forest nearby where I live, a forest that I don't usually visit. I decided I'm gonna go there just to have a little walk. I end up walking deeper and deeper into this forest in a direction I've never been in. Suddenly, the sky opens up. Like, it's a beautiful summer day, but the sky suddenly opens up like I didn't anticipate it to, but it starts pouring down rain. Like this heavy summer rain starts coming down, soaks me entirely. And it's like a rainforest. And normally I'm not a huge fan of getting unintentionally caught in the rain, but this time I didn't mind. It was actually quite refreshing because it was a hot day. And yeah, it just made it more epic. You know, I'm walking in this forest. I actually get lost for a bit. I don't even know where I am. Eventually, I find myself back where I started. And by that point, I've been walking for about an hour. So I've had this mini adventure in the forest for an hour. And by the time I get back home, I'm like juiced up with new ideas to write about. So this is a really simple example of how you can break your routines. Just go literally walk in a direction you've never walked in before. It can be as simple as that, or taking a bus to a bus stop, like stopping off at a bus stop you've never stopped off before just to see what's there. Or going to a cafe you've never visited before just to see the world from a different angle. The second way to make your life more interesting is to move out of your comfort zone on a regular basis. Make it a priority to actively push outside of your comfort zone by doing things that are emotionally challenging for you. The more emotionally challenging things you're able to do in your life, the more interesting your life becomes. The more you do things that are uncomfortable for you, but you get yourself to do them, for instance, going to talk to someone you haven't met before, maybe even approaching someone on the street or at a cafe, just because they might look interesting to you. Just go say hi. That can be emotionally challenging, but at the same time, the reward of it is you get a really novel experience, right? And also you get the high of doing something that was a little bit scary. Another thing that I like to do that really gets me into a flow state is public speaking. I'm actually a member at a public speaking club, and I do speeches every few months, and I'll speak to an audience of 20, 30, 40 people. And every time I do it, I get into a crazy flow state, because there's something about public speaking and just being in front of an audience which is it's always a little bit nerve-wracking. It's a little bit challenging, emotionally, to do it. But when I get myself to do it, the result is I get this awesome high, this natural high of wow, I overcame some psychological barrier, And so that's the second point. Go outside of your comfort zone on a regular basis. So, do more novel things, break your routine more often, and move outside of your comfort zone on a regular basis. Do these two things, and very quickly life will become interesting for you. You will have stories to tell for years to come, and you will also find that you start to feel more alive. Life starts to feel more magical. That's all for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Take care.